613,626 is the number of MSI ticket IDs for RMA and warranty claims that we found on their intranet after a viewer tipped us off to the presence of 90 days of warranty data visible on MSI's exposed server. In our digging, we found that it wasn't just 90 days of warranty claims, but claims dating back to at least 2017. We were able to demonstrate the availability of all kinds of publicly visible warranty claims here, including one from Asmongold, or at least from his company, Starforge Systems. Starforge would have used this to RMA internal laptops or defective components prior to the build stage. In fact, Starforge itself had multiple RMA submissions. Although it's possible that Asmongold is performing an undercover warranty investigation like our Asus series, it's more likely that he probably doesn't want this information public. There was even an RMA from one of our own viewers who had emailed us to complain about MSI's warranty practices previously. And oddly, we now don't have to just take his word for it. It's all right here in plain text, publicly accessible. This is what that looked like. It doesn't require hacking to get here. All we did was type in MSI RMA into a search engine, and we found this page. Searching MSI RMA web server returned a result in position 4 on page 1 of DuckDuckGo, as we learned from one of our viewers. But MSI, once you found its server, just gave a straight lookup table of hundreds of thousands of RMA tickets in plain text that was extremely well organized, including a button to export it all into a super useful spreadsheet for scamming right there. This would be way easier to scrape than Zotac's issue we reported on earlier this week. We were able to demonstrate that data included not only the customer's email addresses, physical home addresses, phone numbers, products purchased, and names, but also comically that there were buttons where a public user seemingly could resend RMA information, request the entire RMA form to reveal MSI's responses and causes of failure, and seemingly reissue tracking information. We also noticed that changing the URL to any ticket ID would pull that ticket without navigating to it. And likewise, one of our viewers informed us that proof of purchase links were publicly accessible, but not crawlable for warranty registration. So this is a huge mess, and it's a big problem because you could use all of this information to cleverly scam customers in ways that are way more effective than the typical extended car warranty scam or call center scams. This is stuff you can use to appear legitimate and like you know something about the customer that would look like actually MSI responding. Let's get into it. Before that, this video is brought to you by Thermaltake and the Tower 300. The Tower 300 is a full-on showcase PC case built to present the computer straight on with its angled tempered glass windows or on a unique mounting stand to show off the build in new ways. The Tower 300 has a layout that positions the GPU fans against the mesh panel with ventilation on the opposite side for liquid coolers and CPUs. There's also an included two 140mm fans up top. The panels use a quick access toolless system to be quickly popped in and out for maintenance, and you can learn more at the link in the description below. As with Zotac, we withheld publishing this information until MSI patched the hole. And the reason for this is that for issues that affect the consumer or the public, where our publication of that issue may bring attention to it from people who weren't aware of it previously, we want to hold that back until the company either has fixed it, which MSI has now after they learned about it, or until it's clear that they will not fix it. And so one of the things that we did here in the approach was we didn't ask MSI for any kind of statement. We won't be including any kind of commentary from the company on this because there's just no excuse. It is a massive, it's not even like an attack or an exploit really, it's just a massive vulnerability for consumers all the same. And this is a huge exposure. And also a reminder to everyone, the crazy thing is we're not cybersecurity experts, nor do we claim to be. I know basically nothing about cybersecurity, and what we did was use Google after viewer tips for both Zotac and MSI, and that is very concerning because it is a skill-less way to pull hundreds of thousands of rows of data and then potentially use it for bad things. I want to give credit to Josiah Bradley, a cybersecurity engineer who emailed us. Josiah actually thought that MSI was the company we were hinting at before posting the Zotac video, which shows just how many of these insecure servers might be out there. He sent us proof, we replicated it, and then we dug deeper to unearth just how bad this issue truly was. And then we contacted MSI to shut it down prior to publishing to try and best protect consumers. Unfortunately, when I was talking with Wendell from Level 1 Techs about this, he brought up that probably this has all already been scraped and maybe even fed into LLMs, such as the modern internet is. Fortunately, and credit to MSI, it only took them a day to block access. This should have been blocked behind a user account somewhere in a login, and the fact that it's called intranet suggests it shouldn't even be externally accessible at all in any capacity, but at least it got closed quickly. We'd be shocked if it wasn't already crawled somewhere though. But this is way worse than Zotac's issue that we reported on just a few days ago. Zotac was making accessible business-to-business invoices which could be used to defraud companies, including Zotac. It was also publicly hosting Google searchable data for customers, including personally identifiable information. Zotac's error was due to improper server permissions and a lack of any robot's rejections of web crawlers, and was so bad that searching just the term Zotac RMA could get you to customer emails as top results. Although we weren't able to individually surface tickets from customers through Google with search queries, we were able to get the whole web server with it containing them, and then we were able to just click on the queries to learn more about it, including again those 3 buttons like form, which just gives you the whole RMA sheet, including the cause of failure from MSI. And for a few examples of why this is bad, think of it like this. So when an attacker is able to get your information, whether that's just an address, a phone number, a name, maybe you have no reason to be particularly concerned about those things for a random person on the internet somewhere, but the reason it's valuable is because in this scenario specifically, the bad actor with that information would be able to couple it with knowledge of the product you bought and submitted to the company for an RMA, including knowledge of what that issue was. Now let's imagine that the bad actor creates a new domain. They call it MSI-RMA.com. And they make an email, support@msi-rma.com. This user can then go and email customers with very specific knowledge with a domain that's close enough that it might be legitimate and appear as if they are in fact MSI. And so this goes deeper than the random untargeted your car's extended warranty phone calls, because they can immediately say things that show they know more about you than the typical random call center scammer would know about you. So let's try that example and pretend like we're going to use it for personal gain. One thing that an attacker, or a scammer in this case, might do is, let's say the user claims that they have a defective laptop. The scammer can send them an email and say, we know that you have a problem with this model laptop. Unfortunately, we no longer sell that model and we don't have any in stock. However, we would love to send you a new one. Please let us know where, and all you have to do is pay us $50 of shipping, or maybe the difference. Pay us $150 for an upgrade to a new model. We'll split the difference, and then they just never ship you anything. Another example with laptops again might be, let's say you want to send the laptop in for repair. The fake RMA user can reply to that, say, unfortunately, we think your device is defective, but we have a fix for it. All you have to do is mail it in to this address, not an MSI one, by the way, and we'll take care of it. We'll fix it, we'll send it back to you, and then just like that, they get a free laptop. And if it's working well enough to use and sell, great. If not, sell it for parts. Another example that should be kind of scary as well is that I was able to sit there on the web server, the intranet as they call it, which again is publicly accessible through Google. I could sit there and watch as new tickets rolled in. And remember, there were over 600,000 records that were available dating back to, I think it was 2017 when we looked. So there's a lot of these. They do something like 100,000 a year based on those numbers. And you watch them roll in. Let's say it's a Friday night when no one is likely to be working. The scammer can sit there and snipe email addresses, send just enough detail, and then hook someone for some kind of scam that sounds like, wow, this is amazing support, super fast, and they think they're being taken care of before anyone from MSI even sees what's happening, probably Monday, 3 days later. So there's a lot of ways to exploit this, and with that volume of tickets, it would be easy to get at least a couple people who fall for these types of things and try and extract some money from them, or components to be sold for money. Here's one more kind of scary example, just the volume of customers that MSI has exposed here. Another one might be if you want to do a fake giveaway. You compile a huge list, you can even do it down to per product customers, and do an upgrade program, like the EVGA step-up program or something, and just try and mass target a lot of people in a way where you're gonna land on at least some of them and potentially do all you have to do is pay $150 for this step-up program. It's brand new. We're rolling it out for customers who have been loyal to us and who have a history with us. And it is both a thank you and an apology for the fact that you needed a warranty. All you have to do is send us some money for the new warranty step-up, and we'll send you a product. And so the reason for kind of outlining all of these is because I think a lot of people don't truly respect just how dangerous it is to have this level of access where, as far as we saw, there were no exposed credit cards, there were no exposed like socials, anything like that. But just having some level of history of the customer plus enough of their information to get in contact with them, it's pretty easy to scam people who are even savvy. I mean, like I said, the average viewer in our audience probably does not fall for a random phone call scam, like go to Walgreens and buy gift cards or whatever it may be. But something like this, probably a lot of people could fall for, especially if it's well architected. And that's the scary part. And that's where we're putting this out there as not only a report on, hey, MSI had this problem, you should be aware of it, especially if you've ever RMA'd anything with them, your information may be out there. I don't think everything was, because we actually have an old undercover RMA we did with them years ago, and our record wasn't in there. So it doesn't appear to be everything, but everything at least with maybe one of the branches of RMA for MSI. But either way, as the public service announcement, as we said with the Zotac video, be careful of what information you provide. If it's not necessary to provide the service, don't give them the information. Wait for them to ask for it. And likewise, if you ever get any kind of sketchy looking email or something that just seems unlikely for a company to do, double check the URL in the email address. But unfortunately, it's possible also to spoof those. And so you really need to be diligent about this stuff. And the scary thing is, we got another tip while I was working on this story about another company that has an exposed warranty server. Just like for this one, during the Zotac one, we had two people reach out. Josiah was one of them who was okay with being named, who emailed us and thought it was MSI when in fact it wasn't. And that shows you just how many of these there are out there. So this whole thing's obviously really bad, and it's so bad that a contact of ours who was helping research for the story was able to demonstrate the ability to scrape the database. So if a bad actor wanted to, they could pull everything. There were no interrupts for CAPTCHAs, there were no anti-flooding interrupts, and it makes sense because it's supposed to be an intranet, so why would they put those in place? But it just means that it'd be super easy to pull everything. It's possible it's already been pulled, because if someone found this, they wouldn't tell the world about it, they would just abuse it until it's closed, because you can keep making use of this type of exploit. So this would be far more targeted, far more effective than the typical scam. And ultimately, it is closed now. So we emailed MSI, we told them about it. We didn't seek a PR statement from MSI because this is such an egregious offense that nothing they say really matters. It is a massive breach of customer privacy. It is, in our opinions, grossly negligent. And a company of MSI's size, which apparently is big enough to process like 100,000 records a year or something. A lot of those were test records, to be clear, but there were at least that many in some of these years. They should have specialized security staff employed to deal with this type of thing, or at least have contracted it at one point to prevent this. And this is apparently prevalent. As stated in the beginning, we're not security experts. I don't pretend to be one. Our goal is to just say, hey, look, this is so easy that with zero security background, we're able to get access to this stuff by simple Google search phrases. You could start testing the waters with all kinds of hardware companies. So hopefully this is a memo to them to, hey, go check for vulnerabilities like this, but also for users to tighten up on the information you send to companies. And for more of the PSA, just watch the Zotac video we just published. That's got a lot of information in there on the basics of how you can protect yourself. So it appears that MSI has closed this for now, just like Zotac. To MSI's credit, they had it closed very fast. So I emailed them on, I think it was a Saturday, and by Monday it was gone. So pretty quick response. That at least is good. Zotac was similarly quick once we were able to get in touch with them. It's just concerning that it gets to this point, because once again, it's possible that the information's already been crawled somewhere or used somehow. So either way, that's it for now. If you want to learn more about this, check out our Zotac one. and we'll look into the next tip we got. And if you happen to have one, maybe you're a security researcher, you poke around for some of these hardware companies and find similar vulnerabilities, email us at team@gamersnexus.net, or you could also use tips@gamersnexus.net. Let us know the basics of it, and we may have to ask you for help depending on what it is, just because we're not experts in the field. But if it's something like a Google search, probably it'll be pretty clear to us. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Be careful with your information, even when you're asking for warranty support, and consider this a PSA. We'll see you all next time.